Hi, welcome to the Wholesome Order. I'm Javon.
And I'm Keisha.
Today we're talking about weddings and etiquette at weddings. Um, you want to start out with something, or
No, you can go ahead.
well, first of all, like I don't think people should wear white. I mean, like um, even men, and that may just be a traditional thing, but maybe if you're on the beach, linen pants that might be okay, but I'd stay away from white.
Unless the couple requested. Yeah.
Yeah, and one reason I say that because of pictures. When you start taking pictures, photos with people, with family, with the wedding party, it's kind of a distraction when the only other person that has on white is the bride. And if you two are not the only ones, then that kind of just drowns her out as well. With a lot of people wearing the same colors, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
And before you even get to the wedding, um, it's good etiquette to RSVP. Um,
Yeah,
it's couples take. You spend a lot of money on weddings sometimes, and so when someone has taken it upon themselves to buy a stamp and write out your address or whatever the case may be, to send you an invitation and ask you to RSVP, and they put the return stamp on the RSVP for you most of the times, or they send you an envelope with a stamp on it.
right.
Um, it's it's good etiquette to send that RSVP back and to send it back within the allotted time frame that they've asked you to. Um,
Yeah,
that's most important to, um, as far as, I guess, just weddings in general. And like I said, um, there's a reason for it. It's just not like someone is just, oh, I'm just gonna send this, and if you don't, it's fine. Because the last thing you want to happen is for you to get to the wedding and there's not a place setting for you. And if you're a close family member, and you put the bride and groom into a precarious situation, and so now, oh, great aunt, you didn't RSVP for a great aunt, and now there's no place setting for her, and you looking at the bride and the groom, well, you didn't RSVP.
yeah,
So what are we supposed to do? And so now you have, possibly trying to scramble to find a place setting when all it took for you to do was just to fill out um, yes plus one or whatever the case may be, and just pop it back in the mail. So yeah.
yeah. And I don't think I think there are different people. Like, so you have people who are kind of in that wedding, that age where you're married and you know what a wedding costs. Then there's people who they got married 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and but even then they should be sensitive to it. But so they have no clue as to what what weddings cost. Well, and when I say wedding, I'm talking about ceremony, reception, um, all the other extra stuff, limos and all that. But yeah, it's essentially a dinner party that's huge,
Mm-hmm.
that has a lot of people in it, and there's a huge difference when you're paying $25-$35 a plate. Add another $8 per person if you're including the cake in it.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then you take into account that children aren't going to eat that much. You know, when you're like you said you're a great aunt or something. Well, great aunt might have said, "Hey, I'll be at your wedding," but there's no hey, I'm definitely going to be there. Um, they don't know whether you're coming or not. If they put you down, then they paid for two entire tables.
And that's another thing. If you send the RSVP back, and I know a lot of times there are things that are outside of your control. You can't make it, but don't send the RSVP back and then it's just like, oh, the day of, you're just like, oh, I just don't feel like going, so I'm not gonna go. No, real reason outside of I just don't feel like going, because, like you said, the party has the wedding, the groom or the bride's family has paid for a plate for you to be there, and you're not there, and so we can't say, oh, can we get that money back? This person didn't show up.
Yeah,
doesn't work that way.
Yeah, just go ahead and give them $200, and they'll just forget all about it.
But yeah, definitely, like I said, we've been invited to weddings, and things have happened outside of our control, where we couldn't make it. But certainly, and we do give a really good gift, but that's not a here nor there. But just making sure, if you do RSVP, within your power, try to make it, and like I said, make sure you're sending that RSVP back to the couple within a lot of time frame, because a lot of times they're not even looking at the RSVP, so they don't know that Aunt such and such didn't send her RSVP back. Usually it's the wedding coordinator, and she's not going to go down the list of, hey, such and such. I mean, it could happen, but most of the time it's just like, oh, well, if they didn't send it back, they just didn't send it back, and it's not like they're calling you and trying to figure out, well, why haven't you sent your RSVP back? It's just like, oh, well, they didn't want to come, and so But yeah, so definitely.
And that's one thing to think about. I mean, it's always going to be somebody that doesn't RSVP or RSVPs but don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
But
you always have people that show up that didn't RSVP.
Yeah.
Even at our wedding, I think we had that situation. And it's just like, we still had room to accommodate those people. But yeah.
They had to kind of just wait. And that probably wasn't the most pleasant thing, but I mean, if you didn't RSVP, we got to figure out if we have room for you.
And the last thing you want to do is get all dressed up and not be able to get into the reception because, sorry, everybody else showed up that RSVP'd, and so,
Yeah. And I think it rained. Didn't it rain? Or rain earlier in the day or something?
Earlier in the day, and then it got sunny, but it was cold. But
yeah, so, I mean...
people might decide, oh, I'm not going out in the rain, but...
Yeah. I think it's still... that considering a little bit of weather, I think that is still that was still a good number for us.
Mm-hmm. The etiquette rule?
Gifts. I'm just, for me, it's not even about the gifts. It's more or less about kind of tying in with the reception. Now, if I get invited to a ceremony and I'm just going to a ceremony and I'm not going to a reception, that
you may or may not get a gift.
That's
just me. You may or may not get a gift if you just invited me to the ceremony.
And I understand that, you may want only family at your reception or whatever.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's understandable.
Because receptions are expensive.
Yeah.
Completely understand, but understand and know that you might not get a gift. And I think for most people, it might be the same. You might not get a gift if it's just a ceremony. We appreciate the fact that you thought enough of us to be a part of the ceremony, but yeah.
But I definitely, if I'm going to a reception or even get invited to, even if I don't go,
show up, we'll still send a gift. Absolutely.
Because I look at it like the whole dinner reception type thing. Mm-hmm. It's like it's like you spent $75 to $100 on the two of us. You know, if they're kids or
Right.
extra people,
But that's assuming
in
that
the
we
party
don't
or whatever.
RSVP. But we don't RSVP. But you know, we understand that weddings are expensive, and so we still do give a gift. In those
Oh,
instances.
you mean if we don't
say we're coming, but
to the reception?
Oh,
okay.
But we've been invited, and
Yeah.
of course we're not going to RSVP if we know we're not coming, but we'll still give a gift in those instances. And we have been invited to weddings that we just don't go, but
and
we still give gifts in those instances as well. So
yeah,
yeah.
One thing that people do, and what?
No, go ahead. I'm just gonna see what you're gonna say.
To kind of bypass some things is destination weddings,
Okay.
and I think those are great. The downside to that, I think, is maybe grandma doesn't come, or some of the older people that would have come if it was somewhere closer, that kind of thing.
So is that like an etiquette thing, or you think that's like for it?
No, I guess that's not etiquette. But I guess in terms of RSVPing, you'd have to do that. Like that forces from the couple's point of view, that forces you to have to, because either you're gonna make a deadline to get your hotel and or not, and you also can plan for less people, that kind of thing. But definitely, I wouldn't just show up. I just wouldn't show up, even if it's a destination wedding. Just like not saying anything to them. Oh, the other thing, when you were talking, that made me think about where you were saying that the person who receives the RSVPs isn't necessarily in communication with the bride and groom all the time. One other thing I found to be kind of funny is the person that took her RSVPs for our wedding has a similar name as her. And so a few people would just be like, "Hey, Keisha, I'm coming to your wedding. I got the RSVP card or whatever." And it's like, first of all, the bride isn't the one that is receiving it. And if you like slow down and read the RSVP, you'd see that the name, and I don't want to say the name of the person, but they both have the same last name and they have similar first names. And so it's just kind of like, that irritated me, because it's just like, in all the stuff, all the planning that you're doing, what if you forget? And they could have just popped it in the mail, since it had a stamp on it, and mailed it. Even if they thought they were mailing it to you, mailed it to the correct person.
Okay. Who had the same last name as me? No. Shonda was our wedding, what you call it?
No, but the RSVP went to.
Did they really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. That's something new to me. 16 years, I didn't know that.
No,
anyway.
but it did. Because
he said so. I wasn't.
remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Shonda did the wedding. But the RSVP
went to Nikki.
Went through. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know this information. Hey. Okay. All right. So this is like a really big thing for me. And I know people sometimes people don't mean any harm by it. When you're at a wedding and it's the ceremony, and this social media age, it's okay if you want to videos or take pictures or whatever, but please don't go live on somebody's wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
That's just beyond rude, because you don't know how they want to introduce themselves to the world, first of all. Taking pictures of the bride in a wedding dress, and as she's taking pictures with her, her wedding party, after the wedding, and a groom and stuff, and then posting them directly to Facebook or whatever the case may be before she had a chance to do it herself.
Right.
That's just really, that's beyond. Like, the etiquette is let the bride and or groom introduce themselves to the world as Mr. and Mrs. before you want to release your videos and pictures and things of that nature. And I see it a lot, and it's just like, it burns me up, actually. But yeah.
All right. I'll say this and see if you have one last thing. If you're ever early to anything in life, be early to a wedding. I don't know what it is. I just don't. I mean, maybe people just really don't know. Like when you get an invitation and it says the wedding's at 5:00.
The wedding's gonna be at 5:00.
Yeah, the processional is happening. The bride is walking down the aisle. It's not. Oh, now we'll start at 5:00. It's the bride is coming down the aisle at 5:00, and so you get time and time again. You'll get a crowd of people in the back
just waiting, and then the bride's out. This happened to me, and I don't even know why. Oh, there was. I remember why. But we got started a little late. Some of my bridesmaids had some.
And I was texting.
Wardrobe malfunctions. It's okay. It happened.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yeah, I think it was.
Because I was I
think it was some wardrobe issues going on.
Because she was professional, and I was like, something must be wrong.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Nevertheless, on my wedding day, I'm coming out because I'm like, okay, we've already started a little late. And you of course, you still have people that are just coming in. I'm just like...
And when she's saying late, she's talking like 10 minutes. It's not like 20.
It wasn't terribly late, but still. But yeah.
Yeah. And then you get the whole thing of, now they see the bride and they're like, oh,
yeah,
you're so cute and pretty. And so, you're kind of stalling a little bit more there.
Because you're trying not to, you don't want anybody to see you before you walk down the aisle. You want it to be a surprise and stuff. But but yeah, that's a good one. Being on time to a wedding, that's a big one.
I say early because it's early.
Good etiquette, yeah. Because at 5:00, you're right.
Yeah, you need to come early. Be seated. Talk to your friends. Talk to grandma before you get started, and then when it's time, you got anything else right now?
No, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure I could think of a whole bunch more things, but yeah, I think that's sufficient for now.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. We'll see you the next time. Subscribe and like, and if you share, and if you got a business account and you want to like and share from that too, give us more likes and shares and shares, friends, subscriptions,
notification bells, all that good stuff.
All right. See ya.
Thank you for watching. Bye.